Still with our special coverages throughout the day, and as Egyptians abroad head to the polls in the 2025 Senate elections, casting their ballots across 136 stations in 117 countries, Cairo finds itself facing renewed scrutiny over its role in Gaza. A group linked to the Muslim Brotherhood has staged a protest outside Egypt's embassy in Tel Aviv, accusing it of contributing to the humanitarian crisis. The demonstrators, Israeli citizens affiliated with the Islamic movement, rallied under Israeli police protection. In response, Egypt's foreign ministry condemned the protest as a deliberate attempt to deflect blame from Israel's ongoing military assault on Gaza, while the country's labor union called it a staged attack aimed at undermining Cairo's historic support for the Palestinian cause. Tonight, Qnews brings up special coverage on both developments: Egypt's overseas voting efforts and the diplomatic tensions unfolding in Tel Aviv. Egyptians living abroad have begun voting in the 2025 Senate election, with polls open for 2 days across 136 stations worldwide. The National Elections Authority says Egyptians abroad can vote on August 1st and 2nd at designated polling stations in embassies and consulates. A total of 136 stations have been allocated globally. Voting is conducted in person by secret ballot with a valid national ID or passport showing the ID number required. The authority reaffirmed that all eligible Egyptians listed in the voter database have the right to participate. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati cast his vote in the 2025 Senate election in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C. Speaking during the voting process, he emphasized that the voting is a right to every Egyptian citizen he should be exercising, noting that the Senate election followed by the House of Representatives election will play a key role in shaping Egypt's future. He also stated that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has instructed all diplomatic missions to facilitate the voting process for Egyptians abroad. Egypt's foreign ministry says 136 polling committees have been established worldwide to support overseas voting in the Senate election. The Egyptian foreign ministry says polling stations have been set up in 136 locations globally to ensure wide participation in the 2025 Senate elections. A central operations room is coordinating the vote around the clock with the National Elections Authority. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has appointed Ambassador Nabil Habashi to oversee coordination following a series of meetings with ambassadors heading overseas missions. A central operations room is tracking the overseas voting process in Egypt's 2025 Senate elections as citizens abroad cast ballots over 2 days. Egypt's Youth Parties and Politicians Coordination says its operation room is closely monitoring the overseas voting phase of the 2025 Senate elections. Voting began with Egypt's embassy in New Zealand and is underway at 136 polling stations across 170 countries. The authority is tracking turnout and polling operations from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time in each country. Expatriates vote on August 1st and 2nd using a national ID or valid passport. Final results will be announced on August 12th, with runoffs rather, scheduled for late August. Egypt prepares for pivotal Senate elections with candidates competing and voting set both domestically and abroad. Well, for further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by President of General Union of Egyptians Abroad, Ms. Mervat Khalil. Good evening to you and welcome to Qnews. Let me start by asking you, how do you interpret the timing of the protest outside Egypt's embassy in Tel Aviv amid this ongoing overseas Senate election?
Good evening to you, and good evening to all your viewers in your channel. Well, I think, do I really need to comment on that? It's, you know, all the protests, not just outside Tel Aviv embassy, but they want to do it outside all the embassies during the election. It's, you can see clearly how, you know, how they want to disturb the election, the Senate election, and I think it's deliberate. I don't think, you know, it's going to go well, because most of the Egyptians, which they were supposed to go and do their votes today, they postponed it till tomorrow, because they know, like, the protest is going to be like around 2 or 3 o'clock, and most of them, they are going to be there. So it's a totally deliberate to create all these moves or all these movements at the moment, especially if it's, you know, like, it's not true. What they are complaining about is not true. Yeah, I can't see how on earth in Tel Aviv they protest outside the Egyptian embassy. They should go and protest outside Netanyahu house, not the Egyptian embassy. Of course, our foreign ministry, they are dealing with these matters in a very wise way as a diplomat. But I don't think all the Egyptians, they know that way. And it might be, you know, like another scene tomorrow. And hopefully it's going to be a peaceful scene.
Well, hopefully we have already started from today, so we're all hopeful that all the election process would go smoothly. To which extent do you think such protests, especially under Israeli police protection, serve political or symbolic objectives?
Well, I'm going to talk about me as an Egyptian, and I live in the United Kingdom. I don't want whatever I say to be taken as something to do with the diplomat or foreign minister. But the thing is, from what I can see, is the security around the embassies in all the world are not that strong. Because I could see when they did a protest for Palestine, and it was in London, happened in London a few months ago, or after 7th of October, and all the protesters head to the American embassy. If I can tell you, like half of the British force was outside the American embassy, you won't believe me, but I was in that protest. I was with them, and I saw exactly what happened over there. But for them to know that there is a protest around the world against the Egyptian embassies and against our ambassadors, and the security is not as much. So if like they put like 5 or 6 or even 9 officers around the embassy, and the amount of people they normally will go down there, because what happened is this protest since 7th of October, it goes around the area of Hyde Park, and our embassy is near this area, and the whole protest just go through there, and no one stopped them. So if you put like 9 people around the embassy, would you think those are going to be enough? That's why the Egyptians decide, and you can see on all our Facebook pages, we put a request for all Egyptians to be there. First of all, we are protecting part of our country, because the Egyptian embassy on English land is a piece of Egypt is there. And most of the people, they want to protect their own country. So they are going to be around. How many, I don't know. But I'm sure all the protesters will be too many, and most of them, rather they are not Egyptians at all, or they are from like the movement of Muslim Brotherhood, which we know all how much they hate, the country they were born in. So hopefully, we hope to be, like peaceful, normal from our side. We are not vicious. We don't make trouble, but we want to protect like our MC, and we want the Senate election to go smoothly. We don't want anything to disturb this process, the democratic process in our country. So hopefully we'll see tomorrow. Most of the people will be there. Most of the people of our union will be there as well, and other people from the community, the Egyptian community. We'll have pictures, we'll have videos, and we'll see what's going to happen.
Now, as an expatriate yourself, let me take your opinion. Do you really think that these demonstrations would impact Egypt's diplomatic standing or its regional mediation efforts, particularly on Gaza?
Can you repeat that again? The voice is not clear. Sorry.
Right. Again, you are an expatriate. So from your point of view, would these demonstrations impact Egypt's diplomatic standing or its regional mediation efforts, particularly on the Gaza issue?
No, well, this protest, I don't think is going to affect Egypt by any means. The Egyptians know exactly what it needs to be happening. We have all our confidence in our president and any decisions he can take. And we know that he's taken that very wisely, and he discussed it with like lots of countries. He made lots of meetings to try to pass, like the idea or the peace idea through, like all the channels. So Egyptians know exactly what our president and what our country is doing. So me as expat, I don't fear anything. I know exactly what my country is doing. I believe in what my country is doing. I saw in Rafah, the Egyptian Rafah, that our borders are open, because that's why they, complain about the border. But the border is open. What they don't understand, or they do understand,
the borders are open from the Egyptian side. Yes,
from
indeed.
the Egyptian side. So what they want to do is to open the border for the Palestinians to go inside Sinai, which that's what we reject. We are, as Egyptian, reject. We are, as the expat, reject. We are, as a government, reject. We don't want the Palestinians to leave their land. And this is the only point. And why Egypt? okay, if we put this idea, why Egypt? When they make, like a few months ago, and it was this protest to want to go from west of Egypt to east of Egypt because they want us to open the border. I don't know really what they were talking about. And even they came around with no aid. So they want to go through a country against its own will from west to east, and they don't even have like a loaf of bread to give to like Palestinian people. And what they do that for, you can see exactly what they want to do with Egypt. They can't take that Egypt is the only Arab country at the moment in the Middle East, which is a stable country, although there is some challenges, some economic challenges, and we can't deny that. But the economic challenges is all over the world. In England, in Germany, it's all over the world. So they are not going to affect the Egyptian people opinions by, trying to encourage them to do a protest against their own country. Whoever do protest against their own country, they are enemy of the country, even if they are Egyptians. Muslim Brotherhood, we know that they are Egyptians and they are against their own country since 2013, 30th of June, when the revolution happened. So that's why we need to know exactly what they want. We are against that. We believe in what our country is doing, and nothing is going to affect the status and stability in Egypt.
Right. What is the significance of Egypt's decision to publicly denounce the protest and link it to broader efforts to deflect attention from Israeli actions?
Well, you can see exactly, well, I can see all these protests, they trying to draw the media towards the Egyptian embassy, forgetting what they are doing of genocide inside Gaza. They shrink the problem. Before, we used to talk about the whole problem about Palestine. Now we are talking about Gaza, and not even Gaza. We are talking about a part smaller than Gaza. Before, we used to talk about the right of the Palestinian people. Now we are talking about how we want to feed them, just only to pass food to them. So they are shrinking the whole problem to something. And now they are trying to move the problem to Egypt, so they can, go with a blind eye on what they do inside Gaza. So it's clearly, I'm not... Maybe I come on the television, I comment on lots of news, but even the very simple person in Egypt, if you talk to anybody from the street, any person from the street, he will tell you this idea. We know exactly what they go against us. We know exactly what they want to do. I saw, it was yesterday, I think, when they tried to go inside the Egyptian consulate in Montreal, and they are all Jewish people. What are you doing inside the Egyptian embassy? Why don't you go to your own embassy? Let them open their own border. Or when we send any aid to Palestinian people, they don't shoot them. When they try to go and get the food, it's like a trap. We call it now a food trap, like they do to rats and mouses and mice and something like that. You put them the food and then you wait till they come and take the food. That's when you trap them. But the thing is, you do that to some people, to a nation. This is not acceptable. And because Egypt is the only country, in my opinion, I'm sorry, I have to apologize to all other, like Arab countries, but Egypt is the only one standing next to the Palestinian case since the beginning, years and years and centuries ago. So we have to approve that.
Right.
Rather you want or you don't want. So hopefully, with all now most of the countries like Canada, United Kingdom, Malta, plus other lots of countries, they try now to approve that Palestinians exist, which is very sad to say, but well, that's what's going to happen. So we'll see now the whole state, what is going to happen next.
Right. From Cairo, that was the President of General Union of Egyptians Abroad, Ms. Mervat Khalil. We thank you so much for joining us here on Qnews and for your very valuable insights. And now for more in-depth analysis regarding the orchestrated protests in Tel Aviv. Let's see more. Well, welcome back, and the story as it unfolds. A group linked to the Muslim Brotherhood staged protests outside Egypt's embassy in Tel Aviv, blaming Cairo for Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Dozens gathered outside the Egyptian embassy in Tel Aviv under Israeli police protection in a protest led by members of the Islamic movement, the Muslim Brotherhood's affiliate in Israel. The demonstrators, all Israeli citizens, accused Egypt of contributing to Gaza's siege and starvation. The protest comes despite ongoing Israeli military operations in Gaza since October 7th, which have killed thousands and triggered a deepening humanitarian crisis. Egypt says protests outside its embassies serve the interests of the Israeli occupation and undermine its historic support for Palestine. Egypt's foreign ministry has denounced demonstrations outside its embassies abroad, saying they distort Cairo's long-standing support for the Palestinian cause since the Nakba. In a statement, the ministry warned such protests distract international Arab attention from the real perpetrator of the crisis in Gaza, which is Israel, and ease mounting global pressure on Tel Aviv to end its violation. Egypt reiterated its commitment to Palestinian rights and a just resolution to the conflict. Egypt's Labor Union Federation has condemned what it called a staged protest outside Cairo's embassy in Tel Aviv, accusing it of targeting Egypt's role on Palestine. The General Federation of Egyptian Trade Unions denounced a recent protest outside Egypt's embassy in Tel Aviv as a paid performance orchestrated by pro-Israeli actors to distort Cairo's historic stance on Palestine. In a statement, the union said those attacking Egypt under Israeli police protection are complicit with the occupation. It urged Palestinian authorities to denounce the act and reaffirmed that Egypt's national security and support for Palestine remain unwavering. And for further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by Mr. Ihab Omar, writer and researcher. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to Qnews. Let me start by asking you, what does the protest outside Egypt's embassy in Tel Aviv reveal about the current regional attempts to shift blame from the Gaza crisis?
Yeah, my greetings to you and to your audience, and thank you for hosting me. The Egyptian community and even Arab and Islamic Egyptians were astonished since yesterday, even on social media and other platforms, on this new pattern of protests. We are in front of a faction from Israeli Arabs affiliated, announcing publicly to Muslim Brotherhood. They got the approval of the Israeli government to stage a protest against Egypt in front of embassy, to accuse Egypt to come to being complies in with Israel. So this is very weird, and also in front of all other ministries. The last thing any Palestinian may protest or Israeli is is in front of the Egyptian embassy. Even it's closed since yesterday. We called the ambassador. So therefore, the public opinion in Arab, Islamic, Egyptian public opinion, including me, we are questioning the Islamic movement, Israeli Islamic movement affiliated to Muslim Brotherhood since 1971. Since 1971, you didn't engage in any protests. You saw Sabra and Shatila in Lebanon, Israelis' carnage against Lebanese, and also you witnessed the first and second resistance, and also the ongoing war since October 7, 2023, where more than 63,000 Palestinians were martyred, and destruction and demolishing of buildings. Despite all of that, we haven't seen one protest of those people. Even Israeli people were took to street to protest against their rules, the rules against Palestinians' practices. But what you call yourself the so-called Israeli Arabs, you didn't took to street. You didn't take to street because of Palestinians, but you protest in front of an abandoned building affiliated to Egyptian embassy that was closed years ago. This reveals the secret agenda of Islamic groups or political movements, especially Muslim Brotherhood, moving with Western agenda and Zionist agenda according to Zionist plans, approving Israeli carnages, which reiterates might say what made Brotherhood, who made political Islam, who made the Zionism. Therefore, I mean the UK, who was taking over this area before Israeli country.
Right. Of course, we've seen here pictures and videos showing protests under the Israeli flag, which is. How do such demonstrations held under Israeli police protection affect the perception of Egypt's role in the Palestinian cause?
Egypt's role will not be impacted with Israel's attempts or any other attempts or those who derives the brotherhood, whether in Palestine or Egypt or Israel. All of these terroristic brotherhood fractions cannot impact Egypt's role and influence, and will not be able to even impact on Egypt as a state, as a country. So the crucial here is Egypt, Palestinian. When people see Israeli Arabs protesting against Egypt's role, Arabs here can consider there is a Palestinian approval for Israeli practices, because now Israeli Arabs affiliated to Palestinians and Israel motherhood, they are moving according to Netanyahu's views. So it's actually weakens their cause, not Egypt's role. What happened yesterday actually was a discovery, was a reveal for what is going on. That Muslim Brotherhood, whether inside or outside, they are waging a campaign with the coordination of Israel and US and UK against Egypt, because Egypt refuses displacement and settling Palestinians in Sinai, and refuses opening the corridor in front to Israel, and also Egypt rejects some of the US demands by using the Suez Canal, or annexing to the Indian corridor, or cutting relationships or coordinating with the US against Russia and China. And also Egypt refuses the Ibrahimi ally that was announced 70 years ago. We really, this situation doesn't weaken the Egypt's role, but the Palestinian cause. These are Muslims Brotherhood's protests to force Egypt to accept dictations coming from Israel, US, and the UK. But we are saying that all of this effort will not lead to any Egyptian surrender to any demands from the US or the UK or Israel. Even if someone made our picture looks bad, no one will waiver our historic stance with Palestinians and with Palestine. We refuse displacement.
Right,
very
clear.
The right of Palestinian state, and when the war ends, the second day, Egypt will call for a reconstruction of the Gaza conference.
Right. Well, thank you so much. That was Mr. Ihab Omar, writer and researcher from Cairo. We thank you so much for joining us on Q News here and for your very valuable insights. Now, I guess that concludes our special coverage, where Egypt presses ahead with the Senate's elections abroad, undeterred by orchestrated protests that seek to distort its unwavering support for Palestine. Don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at Q News EGY to stay informed. Many thanks for watching, and good night.